Welcome to Wear Your Cape to Work, a podcast hosted by Project Insight. We think that project and program managers are the real superheroes of every organization. They wear their capes to work every day, and we want to celebrate them. Our guests have poured their superpowers into driving successful projects across every industry. We want you to hear their stories to be inspired to wear your own cape to work. I'm Trina Schatz, and today my co-host Matthew Sparks and I are with James Phillips, an informatics analyst from Altamed, and a dynamic leader with a diverse background that spans communication, public relations, marketing, project management, medical coding, and healthcare informatics. He began his career at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and started in PR and marketing. He then transitioned 4 years later into the field of health informatics, earning his master's degree from Loma Linda University. It was there he discovered his passion for IT project management, which ultimately led him to a rewarding career in the medical industry where he still works today. Now, with 5 years of experience in healthcare, James focuses his career on working with federally qualified health centers, which are organizations that provide essential healthcare services to underserved communities. He has his PMP as well as several other certifications that we'll talk about today. And having achieved that diverse set of experiences and certs, James has a particular passion for new project managers who are trying to navigate that road to certification and project management careers. Today, we'll talk to him about how you can know if you're cut out to be a project manager and how to navigate the paths that can take you there, as well as get connected to the resources you might need along the way. Thank you for joining us today, James.
Wow, that's such a great introduction, Trina. Thank you so much for having me, Matt, as well. I'm glad to be here, and let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah, great. We've got a lot of project managers tuned in and people who aren't project managers tuned in too. In fact, we know that people are listening from all different industries and different career paths. Some are even just considering being a project manager. So it's going to be great to have you here today, James, to tell people if they are cut out for this job, how they know and what the path is to lead forward. I looked at your LinkedIn profile and happened to notice, as we all scroll way back to the beginning, that your beginnings were in Hawaii, and I did not know that. Is that where you grew up?
Yes, so most of my childhood had all been from Hawaii. I actually was born in San Francisco. When I was like 4 years old, I moved to Hawaii, and I've lived there majority of my entire life until I went to get my undergrad in UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And that's basically our ninth island officially now. There's a bunch of Hawaii people that go
I
there
did not
at
know
this
that.
point.
Have you
Yes.
heard that? I have not heard that, Matt. Tell me I'm
No,
not the only one in the dark. Okay, that is awesome.
I
The
love
ninth
it though.
island.
Yes.
That's so cool. So there's like a mass exodus of Hawaii to UNLV for school. Is that it?
Oh yes, and it's mostly at first it started off in like early 2000s where it was
Huh.
marketed because there's no gambling in Hawaii, so they were trying to get people to come out there, and then now it just became a normal thing. Everybody gambles now, going to Vegas all the time. So that supply and demand situation with the flights, the now it's more expensive now, and it's just an attraction. There's a lot of the kids just go there, and then now their parents visit, and now everyone's buying homes. Now to where that transition from COVID, everyone's buying homes
Wow.
there.
20
Yeah.
years later, it's an island.
Hmm.
Amazing. Well done, UNLV. So good.
Right.
That's
They laid that
awesome.
framework. They laid the
That's so
framework for it.
great. You started out at UNLV and then you started working in PR
Mhm.
and marketing on a PR firm. Can you tell us a little bit about what that was like and how you made the transition towards project management or even heading
Yeah,
back
so
towards
that
the health
journey
informatics?
was, I was like, okay, they have a PR and marketing major, and I thought this would be a great industry for me to go into. So I got into the school. Realized at a much later time, if I fast forward through that program, um, that when I was there working in PR marketing for 4 years, I realized like I want to do something different. I want to do something more. I want to feel like I'm not just looking at glitz and glamour, which is not all the time in marketing and PR. It's not always like that.
Glitz
It's a
and
lot more to
glamour.
that.
I like that. That's
Yes.
good.
it became a real thing for me at a young age because I don't know if you guys know about MTV. They used to have this show called the PR Girls. It's a very old
Oh,
show,
I didn't
but
watch
Oh,
it. I
I've
didn't
never
yeah,
watch
heard of that
it.
so
one. That
My
it was
sounds
gosh, Matt,
very
interesting,
glitz
though.
and glamour.
we're getting
Yeah,
our
very.
already. I've got two things: the island. I've got PR girls. Okay, keeping notes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, wow, this is like amazing. They get to go all these venues and events and host
Yeah.
these things. And I'm like,
Oh,
this is
cool.
exactly what I want to do, talk to people. Because one of my things I feel like I'm really good at is what my soft skills is relationship management and just
Yeah.
being able to adapt and like figure things out and have that analytical mindset. So I thought, okay, great. But then I was like, I want to do something more. I want my life to like stand for something more than just working in marketing and PR. And it's not what I thought it was going to be, like how you see on TV, because everything on TV is must be true. Uh,
Hmm.
so, after that, I was like, let's figure this out. I moved back to Hawaii, and I saw that there was a community health center that was like 5 minutes away from my house.
Oh,
And I decided, I was like, okay, I have a background in marketing and public relations. And I was like, what can I do to transition into something more stable? And this was back in
mm.
2019. And
Oh
I
gosh.
saw that they were, yes. So from 2015 2019, that's kind of where I was in Vegas. And I was after I graduated, and then I moved back home. So I was like, okay, what can I do that's going to be more effective now that I'm back home and to help my community? Because I did live in a small community in Hawaii. It's not a very big population in the West Coast where I lived. So
Okay.
I was like, okay, let me think about how I can help like the people here and like, make the community better, healthier. And with the community health center, they are also considered a federally qualified health center. So specifically, they're meant to serve the
Okay.
underpopulated and underserved communities.
Hmm.
So I
So
saw that they were hiring.
can I
Yeah.
stop you there for a second? Because you just said
Mhm,
federally qualified health center, and that was a
mhm.
term that's new to me. I had to look it
Yeah.
up online, and I see that there's an acronym. So it's FQHC, right?
Hmm.
Let's table it, but I'm excited for our audience to hear what that is because it sounds like a very meaningful role that you just stepped into.
Yes. Um, Thinking about how I can transition into a different type of career path, I was like, okay, let me think about this. Um, back, I knew that I had a very analytical mindset at a young
Mm.
age, and going through marketing and PR, I've always been told that. I decided, I was like, okay, they're hiring for a coding position. So
Ah,
I applied for that, and that's how I got my foot in the door with medical coding.
okay.
Doing that, I got hired right before COVID. So luckily for me, I work in the healthcare industry now. 3 months after
Oh my gosh.
COVID happened, a lot of people were like losing their jobs at that point, getting laid
Yeah.
off.
Oh, yeah.
Luckily for me and the situation I was in, we're needed.
You
And
super
a lot of my
needed.
friends that worked in the PR firm, they also, things started to take steps back. People had to wear more hats, like work. One person would now work four roles as
Oh my
COVID
gosh.
happened. Yeah, so it came at a right time for me. And
Mm.
as the year went on, I got my certification in medical coding, went up the ladder that way,
Huh.
learned more about the medical industry. And then I was like, I kind of want to take my roots back into like getting those people interactions, being closer to even the patient, or if not directly with the patient, because that would mean I have to go back to school again after getting my master's. At least how can I still use my background in communications and those skills? And so I talked to actually my director, one of the higher ups. It's a small FQHC, so I was able to. They're easier touch points with people in the higher management. So I talked to one of the directors there, and she said, it'd be a great opportunity for you to look into getting a project management type of position, and specifically working in
Nice.
Epic systems. So at
Okay.
Hmm.
Yes. So
Big.
at this point, yeah, it's big transition. At this point, I was like, okay, project management, that sounds great. What is this exactly? I didn't
Mhm.
know at that age. I think I was maybe early 20s still. So
Yeah,
I,
for our audience, let's just tell them. So the medical health records, digital medical health records kind of came to fruition after Obamacare was instated, right? We've got these records now that are captured digitally across healthcare systems. And the major players, I think at that time, were Epic and Cerner, I feel like, who
Hmm.
house these major documents. So James is participating in one of those large, centers for digital health records with his analytical mind and his knack for all this project management. Okay, cool. We set the
Ha-
stage. Go ahead.
Really quickly, can I ask a
Yeah.
question, which is, how did you do the research? You never heard of project management. Where did you go? Like just Google or?
That's an awesome question.
Yeah, so there's a lot of the questions that people ask me to this day.
Mhm.
I find it kind of crazy with all these podcasts out here and
Hmm.
how easily accessible is the internet is now compared to maybe
Yeah.
earlier 10 years ago. I was asking myself questions about, because I didn't know what a project manager was back then. I was mostly focused in PR and communications, and I never
Right.
interacted in any like consulting or PR firms the term public project manager before. So that was just very new to me, that term. I did use Google. I basically typed in things people would ask me. What is a project manager? How do I become a project manager? What's entry level to becoming a project manager? What type
Hmm.
of certifications do I need? The same questions that I get asked to this day are still being
Yeah.
asked. So I'm
Oh yeah.
glad for this type of podcast where we are
Yeah.
able to exchange information. I love being transparent about how I get things done, even in my job now, my role. I'm very transparent. My department is that way too, with sharing information because I want to see everybody succeed and win. So getting
Yeah.
there,
Think
that's
about that.
the biggest step.
You have to have someone gone before you to give you that direction. Let's switch, to that, since we're kind of headed down that road of now you're starting to gather information. Maybe tell us about your journey and what you know now that you maybe wish you did before, or if you want to tell people who are listening today who are considering project management, what's the first thing that maybe they should do? Is it Google and, do some research that way, or how else can you find information about this career as a project manager?
I guess it also depends on what if there's a is there a niche that you feel like you want to pursue?
Mhm.
And is that like for me, healthcare was a niche for me because I knew that it was sustainable. This was during COVID. I wanted something that
Right.
I was going to be able to have a sustainable career path in, growth path. Also, what are transferable skills with your current background, or if you have a
Nice.
bachelor's degree, where do you want those? Do you feel like those skill sets you learned in your bachelor's degree?
Yeah, projects are happening in every organization from, construction to manufacturing to IT to healthcare to banking to and it's different in each of those organizations, but there's still a lot that's the same. And so you're bringing those superpowers, you said soft skills by the way, but superpowers for sure, of relationship building, of analytics, of something you didn't even call a superpower, but Matt and I both saw it, this transparency with knowledge to shepherd other people along. That's you as a person, but people like that make great project managers because they're open about all the resources. They want everybody to win and they're pushing people forward for project success on a team. That's not everybody's like that. Not everybody's like that. Were you on your way to project management when you decided to go get your master's in health informatics?
Yes.
Okay.
So I noticed as I was looking at the word project manager, again, we kind of talked about it already, where there's a lot of transferable skills, especially within
Yep.
marketing and communications. Running social
Right.
media blitz campaigns, there's
Oh
that's
yeah.
smaller project management. Sure, we can consider it a project, depending on how we want to look at it. But there's a lot of steps, like there's waterfall method, there's agile method that's within there. Those methodologies are there, but we want to now take it to a fuller scope. And because I wanted to pursue healthcare, and I specifically knew that analytics is something that I was very good at, having it in my previous positions. I wanted to pursue something analytical, project management, in healthcare. So those three key terms is how I got to taking my health informatics master's degree, so
Amazing.
that way I can get that crossover into the healthcare industry because the program I would want is something that includes a project management aspect along with giving me those basic foundational skills about healthcare. and learning that piece of it in more depth and having something that certifies me saying that this is something you know and we certify that you know that.
Yeah, you are a fan of certifications. I mean, he's got his PMP, and you talked about you didn't get your PMP first. You had some other besides your master's, so you know your master's. You also pursued a couple other certifications. You know, the
Hmm.
acronyms are all there, but maybe you can share. You don't have to do it chronologically, but maybe share how you decided to pick which first and you know what they've helped you with. Would you do it again?
So the ones I currently have that I'm maintaining are the medical coding back certification, and that's mostly because I'm working in the healthcare industry right now. I work a lot of times with our nurses and any people in the clinical realm. So keeping up on changes when it comes to billing, documentation, and being able just to identify how we are going through that life cycle process of the revenue cycle, it helps
Hmm,
me with process management and process workflow improvements on how can we
gotcha.
improve on collecting and recouping that money after we talk to patients. So
Okay.
it just kind of helps with that background knowledge. Additionally to that, more specific within the project management realm, as I was getting my master's, I took a PM course within that, and actually from them and that teacher's experience, she spent over 20 years. She was talking about us getting our Lean Six Sigma certification.
Mhm.
So she set us up to where we were all doing projects in the real
During your
life, like
class?
we're
Like, this is during
yes.
your oh, that's so cool. So part of your master's is working toward your Lean Six Sigma. Cool.
Yes. So we were able to get up to a green belt in Lean Six Sigma based off of your work history and
Okay.
the type of projects you've completed. So, and that is a national certification, and they also do
Right.
one
Oh
in-house if
yeah.
you wanted it. But it sets you up and to prepare on getting that examination completed and completing your project and understanding the framework on how that works. So I actually highly recommend people to start off getting the Lean Six Sigma.
Oh,
It is a good way to at least get a base of a foundational framework. And a lot of the courses are free if you want to start as a white belt. So white belt,
okay.
it just means you have that basic knowledge of what Lean is and what Six Sigma is, and then putting that together, and then you get a white belt. And a lot of places again offer that online, and they can feel free to look at that up as well.
Yeah, I'll drop that in the show notes. We'll put some links to those particular certs and the white belt mentioned so that you can check those out below.
Was that when you really got your appetite for gaining these certs? Was that first one? Did it kind of, ignite something in you or?
I think knowledge is power.
Yeah.
So I think the
Mhm.
more that you know, I mean, it doesn't help. It's not also, it also helps because it makes you look better on your resume. And because I knew I wanted to be in the healthcare industry, if I wanted to work for a good healthcare facility, I want to have the more knowledge to put on my paper saying that I know these things. And it
Hmm.
also helps because I'm very a type of person that likes to think ahead. I like to be 4 steps ahead of the next person.
Oh,
So just to make sure I'm more of a competitive looking, and also I can have those expectations ahead of time of what may come up and how can I address that before we have that conversation. I always think of
yeah.
potential barriers.
Well, and broadening your understanding and awareness too. As a project management professional, you're dealing with people that have all different certifications. You know, can you pass on information or are they passing it on to you? Building a team, not everybody is the same, right? It's everybody brings their strengths to the table. So having people with different certifications in the group is helpful for, bringing a whole team together.
Yeah.
That's great. Um, can you tell us? I mean, you've got the certifications all down. What made you decide to get your PMP? Because everyone's talking about that. You know, do I get my PMP? Do I not get my PMP? When should I get my PMP? You know, is it worth the
Mhm.
process? Should I take a course? You know, that whole thing.
Yeah. So before, as I was gearing up to get my Lean Six Sigma green belt, I did ask myself a question. Okay, what other certifications should I look into? A lot of people have that Scrum Master certification. I've done a lot of
Mm.
network events where people would tell me, "Oh, I want to be in IT." So I Googled and I saw that they were offering a course to get certified in Scrum Master. So that's what I did. I'm like, that's great. And then there's other ones like the CAPM, which is, before the
Right.
like the one right before you get the full PMP, depending on your level of
Hmm.
experience. And then again, there's like the Lean Six Sigmas out there. So I guess when I was doing my research, I wanted to see what I can stand out in. That's really important. If
Mm,
everyone's having Scrum Master certifications,
right.
and I got one of those too, how do I stand apart from that person if we are both looking as new project managers to get into a specific industry? And
Interesting.
that's one of the reasons where I came across the PMI website along with my PM class.
Oh,
My
sure.
teacher did tell me that this is probably the best route to go after you get your Lean Six Sigma certification.
Okay.
The PMP exam is the gold standard for project managers.
Mm,
Working in an agile method, we're talking about saving companies money while getting a lot more done in a shorter amount of time.
Hmm.
So we did learn a lot about that in my master's program. And as the months went on, learning that agile mindset and learning these different frameworks that PMI uses, being able just to have that gold standard is important to me. If I want to work in one of the
yeah.
top healthcare industries in Epic software, let's shoot for the stars and go for the biggest one possible.
I like this. We're getting to know James, Matt. We're like, okay, we got the overachiever guy going on
I
too.
know. The soft skills that are blended together really are wonderful as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, it's
I
great.
I really like your constant kind of affinity for excellence, really,
Yes.
with all of these choices and the forethought to this is what will set me apart from my peers in the future, and that's great.
I think we're seeing that across many project management professionals, not necessarily your specific path or the certs you've chosen, but this continued development, this need to know more, this need to get more information, to be an expert. And I'm sure you can speak to it where it really makes a difference if you have that confidence in, your leadership as a project manager too. Let's talk a little bit about what you would say your superpower is.
Well, with relationship management, I think within that, I consider within relationship management is just being able to really listen to all of your stakeholders or all the people around you, and then kind of weeding out the noise and taking it
Mm,
out and trying to figure out what the real message is and what exactly the questions people are asking. And I think that's another trait to really have. And I'm not sure, I guess that kind of falls into analytical thinking.
yep.
Um, but I kind of see them together because yes, you
Okay.
want to be able to have those good listening skills and being able to build those relationships and build trust because you want them to make sure that you're valuing their opinion and they're being heard. But at the same time, you want to make sure you're also putting on your analytical thinking hat as you're collecting this data and hearing this information and from different aspects and different views because for me, there's providers telling me one thing, and then I have nurses telling me another thing, and now it's really like,
Mm,
okay, where in this is the real message that I can blend together and then produce a valuable outcome.
you got this right brain and this left brain side that I would not think always mesh well together. How well rounded are you? That's great. This relationship building, this analytical piece, and that they work together. That's really very cool. That's awesome. You're balanced not just in your personality though and in your super skills. You pride yourself on having a pretty good work-life balance. And that's not easy for project managers because we've all heard James and others who've been on the show are overachievers for sure
Yeah.
and have a lot to do and a lot to maintain and a lot of people to organize. So how do you set yourself up for a good work-life balance? You have other pursuits besides project management.
So if
Okay.
you're an entry level project manager, you're getting new information thrown at you. It's really good to start off with color blocking your schedule and then
Okay.
setting specific time in those schedules for you to take a lunch, take a break, because you need your mind to refresh and just like kind of like have you that moment to decompress. I learned that very early working in healthcare because it's all new information for me coming at me from a clinical perspective.
What color
So
is
I
your
just want to,
break? What color is your
what
break
color is my
color?
break?
Yeah.
Gray.
Great.
I
Great.
put it as gray.
It's the off time.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah,
like not happening. Everything is down.
right.
There's
Yeah.
nothing is plugged in. That's a good color. Awesome.
Yeah. And then I give myself a yellow color for like training or reviewing things. So
Okay.
I have that time set aside
Hmm.
when I'm not in meetings because a lot of the times I've cleared blocked my schedule so much that I kind of saw that almost 65 to 70% of my time is in meetings in the work week. And then I
Mm.
really have like 8 to maybe, if I'm lucky, 16 hours in a week to actually do work. So
Hmm.
it's a lot of meetings, and you really need to know how to
Yep.
manage your time well.
Matt's a guru of time management too. I marvel at his colorful schedule and that it's wall to wall, but he gets a lot accomplished, that's for sure. You guys are great at it. I am not
Yeah.
so skilled.
Tell me more of your secrets on this balance of time, right?
Mhm.
Though I
Mhm.
do understand that time blocking is key. It really
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
very helpful for, I think, anyone, right? Feel like a grizzly professional talking about new people,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
it's still nice to have it that way.
Yeah,
So,
maybe we can get
you
James to
know,
share his schedule color coding. I mean, even for someone to not even know
oh,
which color they
yeah.
should use for what. I'm going
Yes.
to drop that in the show notes. Even if you just give us like the category and the color, and that would be awesome. You don't have to share your weekly schedule, but I think people could adopt
Yeah.
that. It's hard to know where to start sometimes. How
Yeah, that's
about
true.
yeah, where
Sorry.
else do you do for your work life? Do you have things you like to do outside of the workplace? What do you take on that you enjoy?
Yeah, so I my dad was a professional tennis player, so I love playing tennis.
Cool.
Uh-huh. And now pickleball's a new thing, so
Oh,
everyone does
yes.
pickleball, I feel like
Yeah.
that was a transition.
Nice.
Yeah. And then my friend one of my friends he's plays volleyball for a league, so I go and I'm like I love being the cheerleader. I love watching volleyball. It's very more competitive than I thought it would be.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very entertaining. Love going
Uh,
to those.
Looking at work life balance and new project managers, finding resources, getting all this information thrown at them, maybe we can help them out just a little bit here today. You're involved in the local PMI chapter, so Project Management Institute chapter. For our listeners who haven't heard yet, the Project Management Institute has chapters sponsored across the country, actually across the
World.
globe, yep, across the world in regional areas where groups of project management professionals gather together to share knowledge and get training and earn professional development credits and party, get together and have fun, play games, do fun things. Would you recommend people getting involved with their PMI chapter even before they become a project manager or before they get a PMP?
That's a great topic that you brought up, Trina. Before I got my PMP, I've only had my Lean Six Sigma certification at this point. I went into my local chapter. I signed up as a student initially, and I wanted to get more involved with the professionals that have experience and see if I could find like-minded individuals that have not entered the field
Yeah.
yet, but they're really encouraging and they want to build that social connection and find a mentor. So I did join the LA chapter. When I did, I found out that they had volunteers within the chapter that were helping either in a couple different tracks, career development, PMP exam prep,
Oh, cool.
and there was one more I can't remember off the top of my head, but those are the two that I was really more focused in because I knew I wanted to get my PMP exam done within the next 3 months.
Oh,
I
wow.
went and did that track.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did that
S-
track to see how someone can help me, which is why I ended up volunteering myself now
Aw.
as a volunteer for specifically the PMP track as well, just because I'm looking at scope of time, color blocking in my schedule, how much time can I fit for how many mentees um, to do career development, PMP exam prep, and other things, just to be giving advice on a so often basis. I was like, let's scope this out. What
Oh,
can I
my
actually
goodness.
commit and give my valuable time to? So
James,
that's
what
kind of
color
where
are
I
your
am at.
mentees in your calendar?
Yeah. So I have them as green
I
because
thought.
I needed to be bright. Yeah,
Oh, I
for
was thinking green because they're new, like they're little newbies, so they're
They're
the green.
green. They are
hey,
green.
that's maybe that was subliminal
So
messaging in my mind.
I
Yes.
think it was. I think it was. So all of James's
Yes.
mentees listening, you guys are green on his calendar. You
Because you're
guys and
bright
gals.
and wonderful
Yes,
and
that's
going to be the
true.
next bit of change in the world, right? Which is
Yes.
why the Institute's so wonderful. Also, shout out to the Los Angeles chapter winning chapter of the year,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
As far as that's
Yes.
Yeah,
concerned.
thanks for
So,
bringing that up, Matt.
yeah.
That's totally great. We're so excited to partner with so many chapters across the country. Project Insight supports chapters wholeheartedly, from literally from the authentic bottoms of our hearts to all of these project management professionals that we truly believe are the superheroes of their organizations. And we like to support them with fun activities and games. And we even donate workspace licenses for our project management software so that chapters don't have to reach into their own pockets to accomplish that for their chapters. We like to come and speak and just get involved in any way we can to be supportive. So if you're a Project Management Institute chapter person who's listening, please feel free to reach out to Matt or myself. DM us through the links in the show notes. We are happy to support you. We know you are volunteers at your chapters, and you're doing this, like James said, blocking your calendars to give back to the community. So we want to support you in that as well. So
Yeah,
Matt.
big love on
Yes,
that one.
right,
Really,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And James, is there anything else as we kind of close up here today that you want to recommend to project managers who are listening, new people who are coming into the fold, resources, places they can get more information?
Yeah. So if we're looking into certifications specifically, I think that's a big one. I just had my last round of mentees, and I had four of them. So a lot of their questions again were the same as mine. What type of certifications should I get? I think this is something I would start with a Google if you're not sure where to look, but depending on what the type of industry you want to go into, that would be a great start just to kind of figure out what your niche is and what you enjoy doing and seeing what you can qualify for today. Because if you're looking to go into the industry tomorrow, you want to find out something that relates to you as like what your skills that you have are now. And then if we're looking at entry level project managed positions, I would always still recommend if you're applying for positions today as well, just because you don't check the box for every single one of those requirements, I would say still suggest to apply. Get used to the interview process
Nice.
because you want to kind of get to know what kind of questions they're looking at that you're going to be experiencing. Also, with those job descriptions, you want to see what kind of requirements they're having for certifications, experiences, those types of things you want to start to look at on those job descriptions, those JDs, and seeing if this is the type of job you want, what are you missing from those skills? And those are the type of certifications and soft skills processes you want to learn when you get those certifications.
That's great. I think that the audience can totally tell your passion for this mentorship. And is it okay if I offer your LinkedIn profile in our show notes too, in case people who are interested want to connect and maybe see your path or even ask a question? I think a trusted mentor, person out there, even, you can use as a sounding board is always valuable. It's really great.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, Matt and I want to thank you for joining us today. Thank you to you for all that you are bringing to the project management field, to the world of project managers, for bringing your relationship skills and obviously your warm personality and your willingness to be transparent with people who are trying to learn and people who you're working with, but also being crisp about your analysis and making sure you keep track of time so that other people have balance in their lives too. It's a really great picture that you've painted today, and again, just a superpower of project managers that we're seeing across the country and globe, and the amazing inspiration that you provide to the project management community. Thank you so much for joining us.
Really,
Yes,
thank
thank you
you.
so much for having me, everyone.
It's our pleasure. Great talking with you today, James. Thank you for joining us today on the Wear Your Cape to Work podcast, hosted by Project Insight. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, follow, or leave us a comment. If you subscribe to our YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or other favorite podcast channels, you'll receive notifications of all of our new episodes. We'd also love it if you would share Wear Your Cape to Work with your network of PMPs or anyone else who might enjoy the show. Project Insight is an online project and portfolio management software that helps companies connect project data from across all of their teams and software tools so that they can make confident decisions about their business. Our website is projectinsight.com, and there you can find many resources for project professionals, including free PDU webinars, as well as a place to register for a demonstration or a consultation with one of our success teams. Thank you once again for joining today's conversation, and most importantly, thanks for wearing your cape to work.